Hello and welcome back to our listeners. Thank you for tuning in. This is 360 Talk Radio, and you may be coming in from one of our other listener hubs. So thank you for joining me. This is the Women's Empower Hour, and I am your host, Lori Carrese. Today, I have with me Julie Cole, who is a co-founder of Mabel's Labels. And we've kind of been running in the same circles. We were just chatting in the green room. We've been running in the same circles for several years. I met you when I was in Texas at Mom 2.0, and I moved back to California 8 years ago. So we've definitely run in similar circles for a long time, and you've been a very valuable partner to all my conferences over the years. So it's really nice to have you here today. And so tell me a little bit about yourself. And then I know we have a topic in mind about managing the motherlode, which is incredible. I mean, that takes me back to last night.
I was right now, 5 minutes ago.
I have a teen and a tween, and we're recording here early in the morning. And they give me a break now on weekends until about noon. But
yeah, I know it changes, doesn't it? I know I'm the same. My youngest, I've got 4 teenagers at the moment. My youngest is 13. My oldest is 22. There's 6 of them. So it is, now it's like, can you guys get up, get out of bed?
Yeah. I don't even have to serve breakfast on weekends.
You know, it's wonderful. Yeah. So the topic of managing the motherlode makes a whole heck of a lot of sense for us to be talking about, because I know it's something that you and I have both been doing for many, many years. But yeah, to tell you a little bit about myself. So yes, I'm Julie Cole. I'm the co-founder of Mabel's Labels, which is a labeling company. We were the OG, the original label company. We started 19 years ago, and we started for a couple of reasons. One was that we noticed a product missing from the marketplace. We were using masking tape and permanent marker to label our kids' belongings. And we thought there's got to be something better out there that might go through the dishwasher, might be microwave safe, go through the washer and dryer. And there wasn't. So it's good entrepreneurial mamas. We started our company. The other why also has to do with the fact that I have these 6 kids. And it was because at the time, we joke I'm a recovered lawyer. And my then 3-year-old, he was my eldest, and he already had 2 younger siblings. So it was already busy. He had just turned 3, and he received an autism diagnosis. So I didn't think the traditional workforce was going to suit my family's needs. I wanted to be able to advocate for him. I needed to be able to set up some excellent early intervention programming. So at that point, I said to my co-founders, hey, is now the time? And it was like, yep, let's do this thing. And that was 19 years ago. And haven't looked back. So it's been quite a ride. And I'm a parenting, I'm a speaker, I'm a parenting contributor. I do a lot of media. And probably the most exciting thing recently is that I just launched my book called Like a Mother, Birthing Businesses, Babies, and a Life Beyond Labels. And that just dropped this month, and it already hit bestseller status in the topic of entrepreneurship and parenting. So I'm pretty happy about that. So yep, what's going on? Thanks. And of course, in the book, it's full of life hacks, parenting hacks, business hacks, that sort of thing. And a lot to do with this topic of how do we mothers manage all of these things?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a balancing act. I mean, I remember, I have some stock images that I use for some of my events. And I know I came across one where there's a mom sitting at a computer. She's pulling her hair out. She looks like she just got out of the shower. She's got her glasses. She's holding one kid. The other one's bouncing the ball behind them. The other one's like tugging on the shoulder. I'm like,
relatable.
Yeah. I mean, that was me during the pandemic. Honestly.
Well, that was the thing too, like through the pandemic, then all of a sudden, like, at least if your kids were in school, you would have some time during the day to get some things done and be productive. But yeah, then with the pandemic, I know my kids were all sent home 3 separate times where we live to do remote learning. So, I mean, luckily, I don't know how I would have done it 10 years ago when they were all at home, because I have 3 away at university and then 3 at home. But again, they're old enough to be managing independently with their online learning. But if this was like back in the day when I had, when I had my 5th kid, my oldest was 6. So, I packed them in pretty tight. It would have been a nightmare, but I learned a lot through, but at the same time, I mean, I was managing that these kids and the autism stuff and building a business. So I did learn a lot along the way. And this is why I love speaking to this topic.
Yeah. And for me, I mean, it wasn't a total, shake up in my life. I've been working for myself for 14 years from home. So I already had home office kind of set up in that type of routine. So having my kids here, it wasn't that inconvenient, except for we were kind of sharing space. They were taking over my printer. I was going through a lot more ink. And my oldest daughter, actually, she liked to lay in bed and do her, homeschool, and my younger one needed a little bit more help because at the time she was in third grade. So I really, really thought about it, over the years, and, running your own business from home, it's been kind of suggested that it's not a real job. Are you going to get a real job before? I don't know if you've ever, well, you have a product and the service, but.
No, but still, I mean, I hear you in that, because you got to remember too, 19 years ago, when we started Mabel's Labels, I left a legal career. People thought we were all crazy. They're like, wait, my partners, it was like a lawyer, a teacher, a financial planner, and a graphics manager. And we had good jobs and careers, and everybody thought we were just crazy. You're going to drop out of this to make labels. You're making labels in your basement. And it was like, yeah. So you do get a lot of naysayers and question how legit your business is and if it's worthy. And I'm obviously we prove that very worthy.
Right. And myself as well. It's like 14 years later, I'm still chugging along, but it's like, I think people finally have empathy for people who have always worked from home, that, you do really work, and you do also have a lot of distractions, and it's not all that easy.
Yeah. No, there's nothing. I always say that people tend to romanticize entrepreneurship, and they think, they think it looks a certain way. And I think they imagine that it looks a lot like, you're doing TED Talks and making $1 bazillion, and you're, writing books. And maybe I've done those things, but you know what? It took 19 years. And really what entrepreneurship looks like is making labels in a basement till 2 a.m. and then getting up with kids at 6 a.m. and, doing the do. It's really not as glamorous as they think. But we do learn things along the way. And I mean, I certainly did appreciate the flexibility that entrepreneurship provided for me, because again, I had, all these kids and all this programming. But the thing about flexibility is that it doesn't get your work done for you. So yes, I could, go on the kindergarten trip to the apple orchard in the fall, but then I was making labels till 2:30 in the morning, or hovered over my laptop at midnight. So it was a path I chose, and it worked for me, and I loved it. But it's not for everyone. And it does, flexibility does not get it done for you. You still have to get the work done, right?
I remember first starting my business and being in the events industry. A lot of my, work was creating event sites and tickets, et cetera. And I remember sending out an email in the middle of the night, and I actually got a response from someone. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're all working they're like, well, I work from home too. I've got kids. I got to take advantage of waking hours, so you always.
Well, exactly. And I mean, I always laugh because I never laid down with my kids at night to, fall asleep with them, or because first of all, there's 6 of them. I couldn't, who would I pick? And also I couldn't risk falling asleep in their bed with them and losing hours of time to build my business. Right. Like you said, we have to be productive in these hours. And I mean, that's one of the things that you learn, is that, we can be productive at untraditional times and in untraditional places. I mean, I built this business, doing business plans during play dates, and, that's how that goes. We managed to change in the world and change in diapers at the same time. But I will say, because something you said really, made me think of this. And I think, for women out there who are starting their own business or an entrepreneur, I think that and doing the mom thing, I really do think that you need to have conversations with your partner, if you have a partner, about what kind of household you want to run. Is it going to, because we know women are still carrying the emotional, physical, and mental load of parenthood. We are doing, we're always the default parent. That's how it usually is looking. We know that statistically. So I think, having a really good conversation with your partner, if you have one, about, is your household going to be run democratically? Because, if it is, then you are going to be able to, get more done with your business. If it's not, I think it's just a matter of managing expectations and really communicating what's working, what's not working. And if you feel like you're carrying the load and it's not working for you, you need to share that.
So I'm a single parent, so I didn't have those choices really.
Yes.
You know, it's like, I just have to do it when I can do it. And over time, I figured out the best balance. But I also had to have discussions with my children. Mommy works from home. Those are mommy's pencils. Those are
Yes.
mommy's pens, because all of a sudden everything felt like a community. It's like you did have to separate and create boundaries for sure. And your
Yep.
own boundaries. You can't, people think, oh yeah, you're cleaning the house, you're doing that. I'm in a different space. I'm not in caring for my home mindset when I'm actually working. So I might have remembered to throw in a load of laundry, but that's not always the case. I'm not like this automatic, cleaning, take a break, do some dishes, do this. Actually, when I'm in work mindset, I'm in work mindset.
Well, I think you use an important word, and that's boundaries. And I know for me, working from home, some people have a hard time because, that laundry will be calling their name and it doesn't call my name. I'm so fine to look away and get my work done. But I have a lot of mom friends who do struggle with that. And I think that's when you have to create boundaries and set times of day, chunk your day appropriately, schedule. And even sometimes you have to, I think in the morning, get up, leave the front door, go for a walk around the block, come back, you're at work. And then at the end of the day, if you need to do that, out you go, walk around the block, come back, now you're at home. Just if you need to actually create those mental boundaries. I think an important thing, with your kids that you said, is saying no. And I think saying no to your children is very, very important. And for me, I'll give some examples, because there's 6 of them and I need to get a lot done. And I have just raised them to be very independent. And it's worth investing the time to do that. The short term easy, if we're helping them out and here, let me just do that for you because it's easier, that's going to equate to long term hard. So invest the time when they're little so that they're independent. And the big line I use around here is, your lack of planning does not constitute my emergency. So if you come home and say, I need 24 cupcakes for school tomorrow, never going to happen. I laugh. Are you new here? Have we just met? You're mistaking me for your other mother. Never going to happen. If they forget their lunch, I don't bring it to them at school. I could feasibly be chasing 6 kids around all day long if I just enable that and let them. It's not a punishment. It's just a natural consequence. So you forget your lunch, you might have to bum an apple off your brother or go hungry for a day. But you know what? They only ever forget their lunch once. They forget their gym clothes. You sit out of gym that day. You forget your homework. Maybe you stay in at recess, do your homework. You forget your assignment at home. Maybe you get a B instead of an A because you handed in a day late. I can't spend the time rescuing them. And I need them to be able to solve their own problems and be independent. So saying no to your children, I think will really help you manage that mother load. And, kids can be very independent from a young age. I've got friends with teenagers and they're like, oh, I'm so tired of packing lunches. I'm like, you're packing their lunches? That, they can be getting their own breakfast. I'm like, I provide 1 meal a day. You get your dinner. That's it. That's everything else you fend for yourself. And, just making them be a part of the family and contribute. And, I say, I have a do not do list. And I would suggest that too. Moms who are working have these ginormous to-do lists. Well, what are you doing that you don't need to be doing? So I would challenge everyone to create a list of things that you shouldn't be doing. And that could be stuff. Maybe it's time to get a virtual assistant. Maybe it's time to be like, you know what? Everybody here is old enough. Monday night, you cook dinner. Tuesday night, the 13-year-old cooks dinner. And you know what? They can cook bacon and eggs. It doesn't have to be, they can do Taco Tuesdays. So you don't have to do all of the things, and it can be fun and it's educational for them as well. So saying no is really an important strategy. Writing down the things, like an example of something I won't do. I don't unstack the dishwasher. You know what? I got a lot of kids that can unstack the dishwasher. My time is better spent. I've got one kid with ADD, ADHD. He's got executive functioning stuff. If I can work with him for half an hour or 20 minutes on some of that stuff, while an older sibling's unstacking the dishwasher, that's a better use of my time. So what I do is I value my time and I make other people value my time, including my children.
Hallelujah. I'm sitting here writing notes because I'm realizing, you know what, I always felt like I was a mean mommy if I didn't run and, my kid forgets her lunch and not more, not just once, and or the water bottle and the computer was left behind.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. If you do keep doing it for them, they will keep forgetting. So, I find my kids all forget their lunch just the once. And it's funny. I joke that, the secretary has that table beside her at the school, and all the parents come and dump the stuff on the table, that the gym clothes or the forgotten items, the laptop, whatever. And I call it the enable table. And I don't think it should be there.
Oh, wow. That is so good. I love that. I also like the responsibility of the kids actually making dinner once a week.
Yep.
I mean, that's good. Home economics, they don't get that in school anymore like we did when we learned how to, cook and do laundry and such. Yeah. Actually, during the pandemic, I used that opportunity for home delivery services to actually receive some home delivery. And that's how actually I was teaching my older daughter to cook.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good startup.
Quality time
together. Exactly. And I think, another strategy is getting help. And I don't think moms are particularly good at that. I say, I think everybody should have a cleaner. And I know it sounds like expensive and luxury, but I say, if, maybe feed your kids more craft dinner, use that money to get some help if you need it. And again, knowing your boundaries. I got a nanny when my third kid turned my fifth kid turned 1. That was 3 kids too late, but I was doing that thing. I'm like, well, I left the traditional workforce to be with my kids and do my business. So why would I get help? And, it's just not a healthy way to be. You just don't sleep, you don't do anything. So, get the help that you need. And the other thing that I find, as far as being productive is I gave up mom guilt like 5 kids ago. It just is not productive. Feeling guilty and replaying things in your mind, it's so useless. Like if I screw up with my kids, I'm like, hey, I could have done that better. You know what? This is what I've learned from it. The next time, this is how it's going to go. And the beauty of that is twofold. One is I don't carry guilt around with me. I don't lose any sleep. And the second thing is it's role modeling, owning your mistakes. So, my kids never lie or hide things or whatever. They come and tell me if they've screwed up, because there's no shame in that game. We all do it. And then I don't even think I've ever punished anyone, because we just have a conversation about, okay, what went well, even better if we all autopsy situations. So, and I, as much as people teach and try to tell their kids lessons, I always say this parenting gig is role modeling game. So if you role model the behavior you want to see, if you act in the way you want to see, that's why I don't complain. Because again, that to me is not a good use of time. And I'm not saying I'm toxically positive, but I don't say I'm tired, or I'm busy. That's so boring. Everybody's tired and busy. Plus, saying I'm tired has never led to a bed appearing and saying, have a nap, Julie. If I'm tired, then I need to make a change. I need to make a shift. If I'm feeling too busy, again, that's on me. I'm the author of this book. So I need to make a change rather than complain about it, because I don't want complaining, whiny kids, because that would irritate me. That would be profoundly irritating to me. So I try to be the person that I want them to be. And it seems to be working out okay.
And you know what? Also remove the mom guilt if you do feel like you're working all the time. As a single parent, I do feel like I'm working all the time. I'm managing the entire household. I'm the only income. So I have a lot of demands in keeping my business running and generating revenue. But with that, I had felt guilt for a long time. And then I reframed it to, I am setting an example with work ethics of completing my job and what is important. And I do this for our family. So the work ethics is the lesson.
And you know what? They are learning and they're proud. My kids are so proud of the work I've done, and they're involved in it and they see it. Again, you're absolutely right, Lori, that role modeling, that work ethic. It's so important. But I think also with the mom guilt thing is, again, around managing expectations. So there are a lot of advantages my kids have with this arrangement as well. I can go to the apple orchard. I can do the things. If I wasn't, I would be working in a law office downtown 12 hours a day, potentially, or on the train there and back an hour each way. Instead, I can go to the school and watch their little plays. I can do all those things, right? But even I know we're on our phones a lot and that sort of thing. But again, I just tell them, if say I'm going to watch my kid play hockey, I will say, on the way in, I have to return one email and I have to take one phone call while I'm at your hockey game. So if you look up, I'm going to do those two things and then I stick to it. So then I'm watching the game other than those two things. So they know that that's what's going to happen. And they also know if I didn't have that phone there, I probably wouldn't be able to go to the game. So, it's about communicating, managing those expectations. And even I did this through the pandemic, with everybody home. I kind of treated it like a work environment. Everybody gathered for our morning, okay, who's got what today? Who needs, I'd be like, okay, I've got a TV Zoom interview at 1:00. So I actually need all the Wi-Fi juice or whatever. I need everybody tell your teachers that you're offline for 10 minutes at that time. And then you're back online and they'd be like, okay, well, this is what I need. And, it's just about communication, and doing that little huddle every morning with my team, made the days go more smoothly and more productively. And, that's the thing. We need to be productive, to get all the things done when we're managing the mother load.
Absolutely. And, there is trade-off, working from home. You talked about the advantages, of course, and my kids have never experienced a babysitter. I take them to school and I pick them up, and they've always had me home. So they don't know what it's like to have after school care and also a babysitter. I've chosen not to do the whole dating thing or make that a priority. So it's the home, they see mom all the time. So again, that's hopefully the example I'm setting for them. It's not to give up everything, but
no, that's right. And that's what works for you. And for some people, daycare, their kids love daycare, or they get help, whatever, works for your family. And that's, the path that your entrepreneurship has taken you, Lori, and you love it. That's the thing. We can create the lives that we want a lot of the time. Now, not all of the time. There are a lot of, people are like, oh, Julie, you're so brave. You start a business. I'm like, yeah, but the single mom with 2 kids who's got 2 part-time jobs and trying to do all the things doesn't have the luxury of being brave sometimes to start a business. So, I do feel like there has been some privilege, a lot of times with people who have been able to do the entrepreneurship journey. So it is, it is worth acknowledging that. I'm just saying, moms, I see you're, there's a lot of hustle going on out there. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And these conversations are very important to have. So I thank you so much for being here today. Even, and to all the women entrepreneurs out there, if you are looking to start a business, form a community, find other women who are doing the same thing so that you don't feel so different. You do need to share that empowerment and help each other. And you know what I used to do when my kids were younger, I would swap play dates. My kids would go to somebody else's house so I could have quiet time to work for 4 hours. And then I would do it for them the next day. So just get
takes a village. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I love that. And and I just wanted to also say that if anyone's looking to kind of find out more about me or my journey or my lessons, you can find me at mabelslabels.com/Julie Cole. And you can find information about my book and my reels and blah, 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 but it's all there. And I'm on Insta at Julie Cole Inc. and at Mabel's Labels.
And let's plug that book one more time.
Yay. Yes. Like a mother. And in case this does go on video sometime, I'm going to hold it up.
Yay.
Like a mother, birthing businesses, babies, and a life beyond labels.
Oh, wonderful. I'm going to have to grab a copy.
Yeah, you can get anywhere, Amazon, Indigo, Barnes & Noble, Kohl's, all your favorite booksellers.
Wonderful.
Hop online.
Thank you so much for being here with me today. And I look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Love it. Thanks so much for having me, Lori.
Bye-bye.